Welcome to Open for Business NG HALALAN 2022 special coverage. I am Cesar Vallejos. This year's elections have just concluded, and as we await the results, the business community is concerned about the direction of the Philippine economy. How did it manage to get through the tough situation caused by the coronavirus pandemic? What kind of impact will the 2022 elections have on our economy? And from the point of view of business leaders, what strategies can the future administration use to help the economy recover? We'll find out here live with our guests, Professor Astro del Castillo, Economic and Financial Analyst and the Managing Director of First Grade Finance Incorporated, and Mr. George Barcelon, the President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Open for Business.
Good evening, Cesar. Good evening, sir. Sir George.
Good evening, Professor.
Diretso na po ako. Regardless of who wins in this election, what changes are you hoping in the business sector from the next administration? Let's start with you, Sir George.
Well, we are faced with a lot of challenges, okay? This is not because of the failure of the previous administration, but these were brought about by situations that are beyond our control, like the geopolitical situation in Europe, the war between Russia and Ukraine. And even previous to that, we had the issue on the supply chain issue, the congestions of the port that started in China, and then the trickle-down effect to the port in North America. So these are all having a downward effect on businesses, not only on importation, on our manufacturing, but also in our export. The shipping cost now, mahal talaga ang shipping cost. Dati mga 1,500 per container, ngayon mga 4,000 to 6,000 dollars per container. Hindi lang yun. Ang cargo space limitado. For a vessel in LA port, they have to wait for 45 days until they are able to unload. So biro mo, I think there are about a couple of thousands of vessels nakaparada dyan sa LA port. So itong bagay nito really affected us in our economy. At first, ganado na tayo because we're coming out of the COVID-19.
That's
diba?
right.
Naka-level 1 tayo, and then we're hoping that pretty soon, maybe mid-year, level 0 na tayo, so normalized. But unfortunately, this thing happened. But we're proud from the private sector per se, na yung nakaraan na 2 years, no, it's really the private sector that was able to sustain, although it's a downward growth, but we were able to sustain the essential. Although yung mga quarantine, mga lockdown, yung sa essential, hindi naman epektado eh. On the agri, on the essentials. So, we are resilient in a way. And we look forward with the new government, okay, that to really reach out to the private sector for more collaboration. Okay? And there are lots of challenges because of the COVID-19, because all of the effect of requiring to buy bakuna. Ang laki ng gastos natin yan eh. So our national debt has reached 12 trillion pesos, no? And we have breached the 60% of our GDP on our debt. But for the business sector, alam naman natin eh, this is part of the how we deal in mitigating this COVID pandemic. But 60 to 70% of our the debt of our GDP is still manageable. Because other countries like Singapore, America, Japan, they are 150 to 200%.
Okay. Hold your thoughts, Sir George. I have a follow-up question on that. Sir Astro, you mentioned in our previous interview that historically, when we hold elections like this, it automatically adds up to the GDP. So I think you mentioned about 2% in terms of its contribution to the GDP, as Sir George mentioned. So what's your take on these elections contributing to further growth of the economy?
We're still positive, no? For this year, we're more positive compared to the previous years, considering that yun nga, may national and local elections, no? Definitely, it has perked up the economy, and studies has proven that it contributes to 1 to 2% of growth, no? But given the pandemic, we were somewhat not really doubtful, medyo may counting wariness, no? But it seems like the economic activity attributed to elections was there, no? Siguro wala lang, limited lang siguro yung pagkain because of the social distancing and other forms, no? But the usual electoral spending is there, was there. So nakita natin. So yun ang GDP will be announced for the first quarter, will be announced in the next few days. So we're positive that it will be a better figure. It ranges from 5 to 8%, and that's better off compared to the previous years.
And I have this data. It says that the GDP 2021 was 5.7%, on track to surpass pre-pandemic levels, which was 6 to 7% from 2011 to 2019. Sa palagay po ninyo, Sir George, what would be the factors that would have this for the Philippine economy to really move this fast?
Go down. Our macroeconomic fundamental is there. Okay. Our remittances so far has been able to sustain $30+ billion a year. So those are still contributing to our consumption economy. But one thing to be worried about is that because of the increase in fuel costs, in food items, there may be some compelling reason as what the labor sector has been asking for. We need to review our wages. Okay? I've been asked before, ang sabi ko naman, na let's wait a bit. Okay? This fuel prices increase were due to the war in Europe, in Russia and Ukraine. And if you look at the past 10 years, ang presyo ng crudo, about 6 to 7 years, the price of fuel or oil were down. Only 3-4 years were up. So lately, this increase in oil prices were really because of the geopolitical. So I hope that it doesn't look good, no? What all this saber rattling between U.S., NATO, and Russia. So it doesn't look like it's going to end early. But of course, for us, we hope that it will end early. You know, the amount of damages and human lives that's caused by a war. We're sad to see that happen. But the effect on countries like ours, wherein we do import from Russia coal, briquette, some steel. Okay, of course, Ukraine and Russia export a lot of wheat. Okay? So there's a shortage of wheat right now worldwide. So the prices has really gone up, and this would definitely be an item the new administration will have to deal with.
Yun, speaking of the new administration, Sir Astro, nakikita natin, as we have seen in the survey results, talagang nangunguna ang BBM Sara. And even the survey results, as we have seen, continues to really manifest in the actual election returns. What do you see in the business community? What will happen, or what are your thoughts on the business sector thriving under the BBM Sara administration?
Okay, Cesar. Actually, siguro for now we'll keep our ears close to the ground, given that whoever wins we're excited to find out who will be part of the economic team, no? So very important yung malaman namin yan, you know. But somehow coming from I've heard the BBM Sara pitch their so-called economic program, pero medyo all of them naman are motherhood statements eh. But they've realized yung mga important sectors, no. Number one, they've realized that inflation is a red flag in the coming months, no. And then second would be importante ang agriculture. Kailangan may makain ng mga tao, kailangan mura, no. Lalo na we're coming from a pandemic, we're still experiencing itong geopolitics na sinasabi ni Sir George. Yung nangyayari sa Ukraine, yung nangyayari sa presyo ng langis, no, it's hitting us, no. So, and then energy. Lagi na lang every year may question about energy. Do we have sufficient supply? Especially medyo go-go na kami sa business. Ready na kami mag-take off. Sana lang hindi tumaas ang COVID cases. Of course, water is part of the so-called problem in the central business districts, no. But I think those are yun yung mga red flags, no, or the concerns that we'd like government to address, no. But somehow all of them naman they gave their pitch. Mukhang okay naman, pero the details we're excited to hear from the new administration.
Yeah. Sir George, you mentioned a lot of issues affecting the business community. With the new administration, what do you think should be the main focus, the priority of the administration when it comes to business?
You know, Cesar, if you look back, starting 2020, the COVID pandemic, the biggest sector that was badly affected were the MSMEs, both formal and informal sectors. And there were a lot of stores that closed down, establishment closing down or retrenched, and there were people who lost their jobs. Kaya sa tingin ko, itong bagong administration, they have to be cognizant of the fact that some of this business needs financing, okay? And then aside from financing, we should make it easier for them. One of the advocacy of PCCI is the ease of doing business, and we have heard a lot of micro, small businesses really airing their complaints. No, even at this time, some of the old compliance plus new compliance are implemented, which is hard for them. So this is an area wherein I think the new administration should focus right away, because this boils down to giving the public, the businessmen, confidence, and to start the economic wheel rolling. Okay? And earlier, Professor mentioned about key areas of concern, energy, water, and the likes. And that is very akin to the advocacy of PCCI would like to bring forth to the new administration. I don't know whether I have the time to go through all of them, but for short, we have an acronym which is REACH OUT, REACH, and then OUT. So reach out. But for short, just to highlight some of the what each letter means, no? Yung R, ibig sabihin, we need to reinvigorate yung oil exploration, okay? Yung mining of minerals, yung forestry, yung water, at saka salt harvesting. These are all sectors that can generate revenues for the government. And then this is also to offset the debt that we're facing. And E stands for enhancing our education and our energy. That touches on the point of what Professor mentioned. A is really to advance our agri-aqua program and really give commitment for agrarian reforms. Okay? Our present farmers now, they're plotting on very small areas, which is about 1.5 hectares. And they're not productive. Their cost is high, and that's why a lot of agricultural products are being imported because it's cheaper to import agricultural products. So, and C is a commitment for connectivity by land, by sea, by air, and more importantly, digital. This is one area that I think this administration, although they were all out to help to improve our broadband throughout the country, medyo malayo pa. So this has to be looked into. And the other C that comes with it is the climate change. And letter H is to harmonize our health, especially now that we know that we have to be prepared for any eventuality on COVID, pandemic, or whatever. Health, human skill, and human dignity. So that's the acronym that we have come up with, REACH. And the out is the subliminal message. It means one, united in transformation and transparency. Okay. This was coined before the Uni team was using that thing. It was so one united in transformation and transparency. So that's for short is really what we want to share with the new administration, that we are there willing to help. And it would be good because in the past, some actions were done unilaterally without too much consultation with the private sector. At this point in time, facing so much challenges, I think that the private sector can help. And we have proven ourselves during the COVID pandemic. And it would be good that if we are given more opportunity to share our views, because we have more visibility on the ground, that would be most welcome.
Professor Astro, napakahalaga din ng kaugnayan ng Pilipinas sa ating mga kapitbahay na iba-ibang mga bansa, and not only our neighbors but the international community. With the new administration, whoever wins, what do you think should be what's your take on the foreign policy that might be developed by the new administration? Are you seeing stronger ties with China? What is the foreign policy that you think would strengthen the Philippine economy?
Well, okay. Number one, siguro let's assume na lang that the number one now in the results will be the new administration. So I think he will also continue what the Duterte administration has been saying along, to be friend of everyone, and they will continue to strengthen trade relationships, not only sa Western nations, but also sa ASEAN. I think we're doing that. There are other actually very difficult talaga to answer, considering that yung geopolitics involved ngayon nowadays. It's there's also a trade rift still ongoing. Alam rin yan ni Sir George, between the superpowers. We're caught in the middle. Madami ng mga so-called trade agreements that were offered to us, that we signed up. But at the end of the day, ang pinaka-importante talaga is to first strengthen sana yung capacity natin to really stand on our own, di ba? Feed our own people and then export. For now, we're importing mostly our food. From rice, vegetables, sabihin mo lahat, mukhang yun na no? So, again, the foreign policy, it will be a difficult task for the new foreign minister, no? Or SFA, Secretary of Finance. But if I heard it right, I think para lang i-continue lang rin ni Senator Marcos if ever siya nga manalo. And then i-enhance lang niya yung mga existing agreements. But again, gusto ko lang i-emphasize, I'd like to add lang, Cesar, no? I'm sure the business community as well the academe share this sentiment that sana lang kung sino man manalo ngayon, no, na presidente, that technocrats will be appointed, experts in their own field. It should sana matigil na yung mga so-called political appointments, no, wherein dahil tinulungan siya ng isang political party, i-appoint na si dating congressman or dating secretary, kung sino man siya, no. Like for example sa agriculture, UP Los Baños until now is the seat of wisdom and education sa buong Asia. No? Halos lahat dito nag-aaral. And all the graduates are consultants ng mga halos lahat na government in Asia and also other countries. Sila ang pinakikinggan. Look at their agriculture now. Tayo. Kailan lang nag-start si Dr. Dar is a technocrat, no? Sana ganun. Mas aggressive, mas bata, no? Sana lahat na sektor sa DTI, no? Sana wag ma-offend yung ibang politiko, no? They're also good, but they can be set aside dun sa mga talagang field of expertise nila. Yung mga technocrats sanang i-appoint. Kung manalo si Senator Marcos, sana yon. Kung manalo pa rin si VP Lenny, sana talaga technocrats, itigil na natin. Very critical talaga, lalo na agriculture. Pag nagutom ang tao, kahit sino man nakaupo dyan, it will trigger unrest, no? Higher prices will trigger. Hindi pa natin napag-uusapan yung wages. Sabi nga ni Sir George, diba? Yan, isa pang sensitive na iba pang usapan yan, no? Siguro another guesting namin yan. But again, so very sensitive yung foreign policy. I think we'll answer it once another SFA talaga has been appointed.
Yeah, but for my last question, I think we're running out of time. Are you expecting more foreign investments after the elections? Do you see, and also related to that is a lot of the CEOs that guest in Open for Business, they always tell us about continuity. So ito ba ay nakikita ninyo na talagang with the BBM Sara administration, with the projects like build, be continued? What is your take on that, Sir George?
Well, Cesar, our take on that is still to continue our effort, no, in projecting the good image of our country. Okay? And that is why I stress dapat kailangan patibayan natin yung collaboration between private and government. Maraming mga comments sa labas, mahal ang kuryente nyo, yung rule of law nyo, hindi consistent. Okay? At saka yung bagay na ease of doing business. So those are the things that we want to share with this new administration. It's very important. When I go out, because ako rin, I wear multiple hats. I'm the private sector, one of the business advisory council of the ASEAN. ABAC. So kasama ko yung mga ASEAN countries. Alam mo, I've been there since the presidency of President Duterte. Kaya nakakita ko yung mga advancement na yung mga neighbor natin, katulad ng Vietnam. Yung nakaroon ng problema between US and China, yung sa trade war. Maraming mga pabrika sa China went to Vietnam, imbes na dapat dito sa atin, mas malapit pa. So this is something that we have to be cognizant and think bakit, why? And we have to work on that. And this is what I would like to share with the government, that kami may visibility. And we also meet business people who have aired some concern. Yung sinasabi nila, and I think itong mga issues must be addressed. Okay, must be addressed because I've been telling people who are interested in the Philippines na magaling mga Pinoy. We are intelligent and we can be hardworking. We would prefer not to attract people coming here to invest because of cheap labor. We're not cheap labor anymore compared to the other ASEAN countries. But what we want to stress, that's why I've been often talking to Secretary Mon Lopez, because TESDA now is under Department of Trade and Industries. And I've been telling, sharing my thoughts. No? Sabi ko, Sek, dapat, yung mga, every year, meron tayong priority plan, investment priority plan. Kailangan may counterpart sa yung humans upskilling. Ano bang kailangan nila itong sa mga priority plan? And focus on that so that if people are coming here, kung maki-invest sila, nakahanda namin yung mga tao. Okay? And I said, incentivize them for them to bring their equipments here, tax-free. These are expensive equipment. But if they can train our Filipino workers, for them to be accredited, pag na-accredited sila, then they have confidence in hiring them. Alam mo, ang dito sa atin, sa mga skill sets natin, ang malaking wala sa atin, yung mga sa IT. You know why? Because the principles that we're dealing with, katulad ng Microsoft, yung mga big names in the IT infrastructure, cloud, HP, Dell, Cisco. I'm also in the IT business, kaya alam ko yun eh. Yung mga engineers namin, we have to invest money for them to be trained. At saka pag na-accredited sila, this is a standard that is known internationally. Sa email lang eh. Tanong siya sa engineer namin, ano ba yung courses na accredited ka? Pag sabi na, ito ang accreditation ko, they will immediately offer them a job.
Yeah.
Ganong kabilis.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the human side of upskilling is very important. Okay, and that is where I think I have full confidence because kailangan we have to ask ourselves kung kaya natin na improve yung local business environment para yung mga kapwang Pinoy natin nasa abroad, that they want to come back. Di ba? Kaysa we always say foreign investment, why not our brothers and sisters outside the country, we make it attractive for them to invest. And I think that should be one of the ultimate goal for us.
Yes, I am sorry to our guests. We are running out of time. Thank you to our guest, Professor Astro del Castillo, Economic and Financial Analyst and Managing Director of First Grade Finance Incorporated. And I hope you can come back again so that we can discuss more about these issues. And Mr. George Barcelon, President of Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mata ng Halalan will be back. Stay with us. Naku, maraming salamat. Sino man sa mga kandidato sa pagkapangulo ang manalo, nagkakaisa ang mga eksperto at otoridad sa larangan ng ekonomiya at pagninegosyo na dapat ipagpatuloy ang magagandang nasimulan ng Duterte administration. Continuity is inevitable at sa pagtiyak ng continuity, mahalagang isaalang-alang ang inaalok na foreign policies ng mga kandidato. Ayon sa Goldman Sachs, sakaling manalo si VP Leni Robredo ay magkakaroon ng significant shift sa ekonomiya ng bansa. Inaasahan kasi na maiiba ang relasyon ng Pilipinas sa China sa ilalim ng kanyang pamumuno at matitigil ang Duterte approach laban sa illegal drugs. Para sa batikang mamamahayag na si Rigoberto Tiglao, and we quote, Leni Robredo has been and will be the U.S. puppet. Kaya't kung matutuloy ang isang Robredo administration, asahang mas magiging dependent ang Pilipinas sa suporta ng kanluran. Ang problema nga lang ay ang mababang kumpiyansa ng global economy sa pamamalakad ni U.S. President Joe Biden dahil na rin sa pagsablay-sablay ng mga desisyon sa nangyayaring krisis sa Ukraine. It's a completely different picture, assuming that a Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. indeed makes it to Malacanang. Committed kasi si Marcos maging si VP candidate Sara Duterte sa pagpapatuloy ng mga programa ng Duterte administration gaya ng build at agresibong aksyon kontra illegal na droga. Ayon pa rin sa pahayag ng Goldman Sachs na nalathala, inaasahang pananatilihin ng isang Marcos administration ang friendly stance ng Pilipinas sa China na patuloy sa pagiging economic superpower sa mundo. Mag-iiwan ng Duterte administration ng mga pulisiya at programa katulad ng Create Law, amendments to the Public Service Act at foreign direct investments na makatutulong para panatilihin ang pag-usbong ng GDP ng 6 to 7% sa susunod na 6 na taon. Nagbigay rin ng magagandang ranking at forecast ang mga institusyong gaya ng Center for Economic and Business Research, The Economist, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, Japan Credit Ratings Agency at Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development batay sa naging economic achievements ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Tularan sana ng mga susunod na mamumuno ang ginawa ng mga nakaraang lider ng Pilipinas ang pagtatalaga ng mga pinakamahuhusay sa larangan ng ekonomiya, pananalapi, industriya at agrikultura. Hindi dapat mahalukan ng politika ang mga sektor na ito, kundi pairalin ang pagkakaisa para sino man ang maluklok na susunod na presidente ay mapanatiling buhay at sumusulong ang ekonomiya ng bansa. Elections are necessary for democratic governance to function. The most exciting event in the Philippines is the election of government officials. It occurs when friends become enemies and relatives start to become irrelevant in the name of the politician they back. Our political culture revolves around polling. With that, our quote of the week is from President Rodrigo Duterte. He says, "A strong economic political determination, not political ambition, is the guiding light." Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood ng Open for Business. Thank you to our guests, Professor Astro del Castillo and Mr. George Barcelon, keeping you informed and open for business. Be ahead of the curve from vision to action. Para sa Open for Business, Mata ng Halalan 2022, ako po si Cesar Vallejos.